Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. George Robert Wikienko. I'm a surgeon and I'm also a medical specialist over at San Lazaro Hospital, one of the infectious disease hospitals in Manila, Philippines. And I'm here to talk about ultraviolet C light. Now, the COVID 19 pandemic has brought several technologies from the hospital and the laboratory setting into our homes. One of these is ultraviolet C light. Dati-rati sa mga ospital o sa mga laboratorio lang to nakikita. Ngayon, sa lahat ng mga online shopping platform, binibenta na ito. Now, this is good and worrisome at the same time. Ultraviolet C germicidal lamp is a known technology. We've been using it for several decades already. We know it works, but we also know that it has its hazards. And what I'm concerned about is that many people do not know these hazards and may misuse them. And without any government agency regulating the sale of these UVC lamps and gadgets, there are bound to be some questionable items that are not as effective as the manufacturers claim, or worse, simply bogus. Ayaw natin magpagoyo, no? Ayaw natin ng fake. So that's why I'm giving you some reasons to not to buy your UVC. Now, for us to know what UVC is, we have to know what ultraviolet light is. Ultraviolet light is somewhere in the light spectrum. We can know this better by the colors of the rainbow, otherwise known as Roy G. Biv. The colors of the rainbow are the colors that we can see. These are the kinds of light that the human eye can see. Ultraviolet light occurs just before we see the color violet. What this actually means is that ultraviolet is in fact invisible. Hindi mo dapat nakikita ang kulay ng ultraviolet. Now, there are three types of ultraviolet light. There's ultraviolet A, B, and C. We know ultraviolet A and B, they are quite familiar with us because they cause sunburn. We see them in the labeling of sunscreen lotions. Luckily for us, the Earth's upper atmosphere blocks most of ultraviolet C light. This is good for us because actually, ultraviolet C damages our DNA. Now, buti na lang, walang ultraviolet C na bumabagsak dito sa lupa. No? Lahat nandun na lang sa outer space. Okay? Now, if you were to ask my professional opinion, whether you should buy your own UVC lamp, I would say don't buy unless you are a healthcare professional working with patients. Tipirin nyo na lang pera nyo. It's better to use common household disinfectants that you can buy in the regular supermarkets than to buy a UVC lamp. I'll tell you some reasons. Now, the first reason is that we do not know in our home if the UVC lamp that you bought actually works. You can see the light go on, but you really can't see it killing germs, can you? Now, with other types of ultraviolet light, you know that it works. For example, the ultraviolet light in nail salons. You can see it works because the nail polish dries. Ultraviolet lamps in t-shirt shops. You know the ultraviolet lamp works because the t-shirt designs fluoresce. Ultraviolet lamps in car paint shops. You know the ultraviolet works because the car paint dries faster. We don't know if your ultraviolet C lamp that you bought for killing germs actually works. Malay nyo ba kung legit o bogus yan? what you actually need to do is to get a UVC dosimeter. This measures the output of your lamp, whether it emits ultraviolet C. It's similar to the photometers that photographers use or solar panel installers use, but these are much more expensive. They only measure a narrow wavelength of UVC, and the cheapest ones I saw were about 15,000 pesos for a generic Chinese brand on AliExpress. Many hospitals don't have them. They are usually installed in industrial or laboratory settings. Now, luckily, there is a cheaper solution. There are qualitative UVC dosimeter stickers. They are very similar to the stickers that change color if you're out in the sun for too long. These are quite similar in that they change color when exposed to UVC. I've used them in my videos. If you want to check out those videos, you can check out the links below. But these are commonly used in healthcare settings. Abroad, I don't know if it's commonly used here. I don't think it is. And once the color changes, there you see the color change, you know that it works. You know that your UVC lamp works. Sigurado kang patay ang mikrobyo mo. Now, there is a limitation to these UVC stickers. They only measure a narrow wavelength of UVC, and many UVC LED gadgets do not emit UVC at 254 nanometers. This is a problem because if you check out my previous video, I bought a rather expensive UVC LED toy disinfectant box that I use to disinfect my medical things I use in the hospital. But unfortunately, it doesn't change the UVC sticker color. Now, hindi porke may nakikita kang violet na ilaw, gumagana na. Ang totoong ultraviolet light, hindi mo dapat nakikita. Now, this is not to say that these UVC LED gadgets are fake. They're just very difficult to verify. I've communicated with a Philippine distributor of the said LED UVC toy box, and I verified that the UVC LED, in fact, emits UVC, but just at that range. Okay? You can check this if you're in the hospital by running a culture, but you can't do that at home. Hopefully, I'll have another video soon where I'll do some experiments to see how you can actually check if your UVC box works. No? Abangan nyo na lang. Now, that is one of the reasons why you shouldn't buy a UVC device. Now, if you really want to buy a UVC device, I suggest you stick to mercury vapor lamps. These are more fragile, these are more bulky, but you can easily verify that they work. An added benefit is that these are usually much cheaper. These are very similar to the household fluorescent lamps that we use in our house, but because of the manufacturing process, they emit ultraviolet C at 254, which is the optimum germicidal wavelength, and 185. Unfortunately, UVC at 185 produces ozone. Now, we've heard about the ozone layer, but ozone is actually a double-edged sword. Ozone down here is not so good because it can actually cause asthma or pulmonary irritation. No? It's not good to breathe it in. Luckily, ozone can also kill germs and can neutralize bad smells. But if you have somebody with asthma in your house, don't buy the UVC lamp, please. Now, um, ozone has a very particular smell. It's similar to the smell that you experience just before a big thunderstorm, yung alimuong. No? This is actually helpful in determining whether your UVC lamp works or not, because you can smell it. I'm not suggesting you should go in your room and actually breathe in the ozone, but if you're going to use a UVC lamp, a mercury vapor UVC lamp, it is better to ventilate that room first. Paandarin niyo muna ventilador nyo pagkatapos nyo gamitin yung UVC lamp ninyo para mawala yung ozone. Now, the fourth reason why you shouldn't buy a UVC lamp for your home actually circles back to the first reason. Higher wattage UVC lamps do not necessarily equate to better germ killing. No? UVC germicidal effect is not measured in watts like we are familiar with electrical items, but we actually measure it in millijoules per centimeter squared. No? That's the amount of energy, joules or millijoules, to a particular area, square centimeter, no? Not watts. This is very difficult because most of the companies selling you UVC lamp will advertise them based on watts or based on the floor area. It's as if they're trying to sell you an air purifier. No, it shouldn't be like this. It's not a good way of measuring the output of the UVC. Now, you should think about UVC like a flashlight. No? The more you shine in more areas, the better you can kill the germs. Now, it also means that if there is a shadow, any microbes hiding in that shadow will not be killed by UVC. So, the best strategy in using your UVC lamp, if you've already bought it, is not to just put it in one part of the room and then forget about it. It's just actually you have to change positions after a few minutes. Buksan niyo yung UVC lamp nyo. Pagkatapos ng ilang minuto, ilipat yun ng pwesto. That way, mababawasan yung mga shadows. Mas marami kayong mapapatay. Again, to do this efficiently, you'll need to know the output of your UVC lamp, which again circles back to our first reasons. Now, research has suggested that SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID, is actually killed at just about 27 to 38 millijoules per centimeter squared. That's quite small. No? That's quite small. It means if you have a powerful UVC lamp, you only need about 20-30 seconds to kill SARS-CoV-2. You don't need 15 minutes, you don't need 30 minutes, you definitely don't need 1 hour. Yep, in fact, this tiny UVC lamp that I bought out of desperation during the first part of the lockdown can achieve about 27 to 38 millijoules per centimeter squared in about 7 to 8 minutes. No? And the big one that I use can kill in about a minute or less than a minute. Now, the point is, you have to know the output of your UVC lamp in order to use it properly. Now, since we've touched on the word air purifier, we might as well get into the subject. There are many air purifiers that are being sold that have UVC lamps. You want to ask me, are they a good buy? I'm going to say it right now. I would not buy a air purifier with a UVC lamp. I'll explain in a later video. Pero wag na kayo bumili ng may UVC lamp kung pwede lang. Ordinary air purifier with a HEPA filter will do. Now, one more thing to consider is that UVC, or ultraviolet in general, damages DNA to kill germs, no? But it also damages ultraviolet light in general also damages materials, especially plastics. This is actually a property of ultraviolet light. That's why if you leave your plastic chair out in the open sun, no, after a few months, it will become brittle. Kung hindi mo magamit ng maayos yung ultraviolet sea lamp, baka masira mo pa yung mga gamit mo. So that's another reason not to buy it. And the sixth reason why you shouldn't buy a UVC lamp is the danger that it might pose to your health and the health of the people in your house. As I mentioned, UVC damages DNA. That's good if you want to kill single cell germs. No? Their DNA gets deactivated, they're dead. But it's a non-specific DNA destroyer. It doesn't care what you look like. It just destroys DNA. Now, it also burns the skin. Not as much as UVA or UVB, but if you are exposed to prolonged times under UVC, you might get skin burns. And you might get corneal damage. The Philippine Academy of Ophthalmology and the Philippine Cornea Society have actually issued guidelines to the public, no, saying to limit use or not use UVC lamps inside the house because of the danger it poses. The Department of Health actually is discouraging the public from buying your own UVC lamp. Hindi biro ang paggamit ng UVC lamp. Maaari kang makapinsala, maaari kang makasakit, at pwede mong masira ang mga gamit nyo. However, if you've bought your own UVC lamp, you'll need how to protect yourself. Okay? Luckily, I made several videos already on what materials can protect you from UVC. No? It really doesn't take much. No? Ordinary cloth, no? Thin gloves can actually protect you from UVC. Despite being touted as a flesh-burning instrument, UVC is actually quite easy to block. Essentially, if you're going to operate a UVC lamp, you need clothes that cover all of your skin, some gloves, a face shield, even a thin plastic face shield will do. Ordinary sunglasses will do. So those are what you need to do, what you need to use when you really need to use your UVC lamp. So to recap, my 6 reasons for not buying your UVC lamp for your home is that number 1, you cannot verify it easily. Number 2, there are many bogus UVC gadgets out there. Number 3, many UVC lamps, particularly the mercury vapor ones, produce ozone, which can be a pulmonary irritant. Number 4, many UVC lamps are being sold based on the wattage, not on its actual dose. And number 5, you actually need to move the UVC around to use it, not in one specific stationary spot. And number 6 is that UVC poses health risks to your skin, to your eyes, and to your lungs. If you really need to buy your own UVC lamp, I suggest you make your own UVC box out of with a mercury vapor lamp. No, the UVC is contained in one particular area. You just need to ventilate it after. And if you have any more questions, you can reach me at BrillianceMD on Facebook and on Instagram. And I hope if this is informative to you, please share it with others. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification button. Thank you very much for listening and stay safe.